Hello and welcome back to a coffee grown origin a week. Last time we did this wasn't last week, it was like 2 weeks ago. I do apologize, but last time we went to Colombia. So continuing on our alphabetical order, this week we're continuing with C and we are going to Costa Rica. Coffee was introduced to Costa Rica very early in the 1800s, and by 1820 it was already their biggest export. It actually helped pay for their education system as well as that the Costa Rica National Theatre. So it has played a vital role in its growth over the last 200 years. Yeah, 250 odd years. So yeah, coffee's good. Costa Rica's government seen the potential for coffee at a very early stage, and straight away from roughly the 1820s, they started to offer land grants and as well as that tax breaks for anyone growing coffee, which was massively forward thinking for its time. I assume it wasn't around then, but I'm going to assume it was. From an early stage, wealthy coffee people emerged and they were called coffee barons, and any money they made from the, well, not any money, but money they made from the farms they reinvested into the country. So they built railways. This is amazing for connecting ports with coffee farms, and then yeah, this really helped Costa Rica establish itself as a coffee growing region, and then it exported coffee to Panama, Chile and surrounding countries. So it was an amazing thing for them to do, to reinvest at such an early stage, and the coffee out of Costa Rica is delicious. Like we've touched on before, different countries have different coffee growing regions depending on their soil type, how rich the soil is, the altitude, how high the coffee farm is, the climate in that particular area, whether it's rainy or not. So all these things contribute to different flavor profiles, and in Costa Rica we can break it down into 8 main coffee growing regions. First, we have Tarrazú, which is the crown jewel of Costa Rican coffee. Its altitude is about 1,200 to 1,900 meters above sea level, and its cup profile is bright acidity, red fruits, citrus, floral, and really kind of clean and elegant cup profile. Next, we have West Valley, a region known for its floral coffees and innovation around processing. The altitude here is around 1,200 to 1,700 meters above sea level, and its cup profile is stone fruit, tropical florals, and a kind of creamy texture. Next, we have Central Valley, which is the original heartland of coffee in Costa Rica. Its altitude is 900 to 1,600 meters above sea level, so it's a little bit lower in altitude, which generally means lower quality coffee or more chocolatey, earthy notes. Maybe not chocolatey, more earthy notes. The closer you get to sea level, the more earthy the notes of coffee become. So 900 isn't that high. And then our cup profile here is balanced chocolate, citrus, nutty, and sometimes floral. I would imagine that's the only fairly high altitude one. Next, we will move on to the processing methods in Costa Rica. Processing in Costa Rica is actually pretty cool. As we touched on earlier, a lot of smallholders actually produce coffee in Costa Rica. And what happens when you have smallholders generally is they would pick cherries and send them to a large mill in a community. So if I was a farmer and my next door neighbor was a farmer, instead of everyone owning a mill, we would send it to a bigger mill generally. So in Costa Rica, there's actually a micro mill, so a lot of the smallholders have their own mill to process coffees, which is fascinating because then they get to experiment themselves with different processing methods. So one massive thing, obviously there's a lot of benefits to the micro mill. They get to experiment with different processing methods, but as well as this, it makes the coffee fully traceable. So instead of me and my neighbor sending coffee with all of our other neighbors to a mill and then a roaster in Ireland buying it and saying, where's this coffee come from? And then it's like, oh, well, the mill, and then it could be 30 other farms. Or sorry, that mill, and then it could be from 30 farms. Whereas this, because it's a micro mill from one farm, it's fully traceable, which was a massive revolution in coffee in Costa Rica. The main processing method is fully washed in Costa Rica, but as we just said, there is a lot of different things going on here, and the coffees you can get out of Costa Rica are absolutely smashing. But as a broad thing, probably mainly coffee from Costa Rica is fully washed, but as we just said, there is a lot of other things going on. Honey process, anaerobic fermentation, co-fermentation with different fruits. There's a lot going on in Costa Rica, so definitely keep an eye out for Costa Rican coffee. Next, we move on to the varietals of Costa Rica. The varietals in Costa Rica are all of the regular players that you can imagine: Caturra, Catuai, SL28. Then we have ones that are only found in Costa Rica, and I love actually kind of exploring varietals that can only be found in certain countries, and that varietal is called Villa Sarchi. Villa Sarchi was found in the Western Valley in the 1950s, and it is a mutation of Bourbon and Caturra, but it is uniquely grown in Costa Rica, which is absolutely fascinating. Oh yeah, as I said, I love varietals that are exclusively found in one origin. So Villa Sarchi, look out for it if you ever see one. And that's it from Costa Rica. A really nice origin with some absolutely banging coffees, a really cool heritage and coffee history. Very clever government investing and reinvesting in coffee growing and exporting from an early age, or an early time rather, in the very early 1800s, late 1700s. So yeah, cool origin, banging coffees, look out for it. And yeah, if you can find a Villa Sarchi which is exclusively grown in Costa Rica, do so. Thanks very much for listening. Hope you found this enjoyable, educational. See you on the next one.